Welcome back, guys. So, in our Appium series, we will continue with another topic, and that is Appium Inspector. Now, what is exactly an Appium Inspector? So, if you know about the Selenium Inspector, so what we normally do, so all the web browsers will render the particular application in the what do you call in terms of the HTML, right? So we can just right click on any of the element on the browser, and then we go to inspect and we get the HTML DOM. But in case of mobile, we don't have any HTML, what do you call HTML rendering or any kind of what do you call right click property so that you can right click. So for that, Appium is providing an inspector. So it's a utility. So it's basically a package that is included in Appium desktop. Okay, so when you install the Appium desktop as a server, the same server will act as a Appium inspector. Okay, and one good thing or one benefit of this Appium inspector is you can install that in both of the platforms and you can inspect the mobile app elements. Okay, so to install that you can just install from this particular location. If you go to Appium desktop releases, you will get the latest version, and if it is Windows, you can install the exe version. If it is a Mac operating system, you can install the DMG version. Okay, and now let's say that you have installed the Appium. Now let's see how is the desktop looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like, and currently I have started the server. So you have to run the server. This thing we have already discussed in our how we can run our Appium server. Okay, so once you have opened this one, you can see that the search icon is there, right? Now what you can do, you can just click on the search icon, which will open the inspector. Okay, and the same procedure is applicable if you are using a Windows operating system. Okay, so one thing to note it is that whenever you are trying to inspect something, your simulator and the application should be launched. Okay, so here is my simulator. Here you can see, let me minimize this one a bit. Okay, so here is my simulator, and here you have different applications are there. Right now we have already discussed about the Appium capabilities, right? These capabilities basically helps us to identify what application we are going to run the test. Okay, so at this moment we will use the what do you call the Android's default phone application. Okay, so we will see how we can inspect all these elements by using the Appium inspector. Now one question comes, how exactly this Appium inspector knows that which application I need to inspect. Okay, so for that reason you can see here few of the options are available. So before getting into the inspection, let me just get into let me just give a brief about each and every option of the Appium inspector. Okay, so here you can see desired capabilities. So as we have seen how we can launch a application in our previous videos, so you can fetch all those what you call capabilities required, like your app package, app activity, then the device name, the operating system, and everything. You can just list it down here, and you can see here they are giving few of the options here. If the key value pair is string, you can use the text. If it is a boolean, like what I call true false, then you can use boolean as a type, and number, like if you are using any integer only. JSON object, if it is a JSON content as a key, you can use that. And then file path, like we have seen, right, in the capabilities session, that if you want to install a particular app, then you have to give app as a name and then the path of that particular apk file. Okay, so that for that reason you can use that. Okay, and once you enter all the desired capabilities, you have an option, you can save that with a particular name, so that you need not to every time enter the capabilities whenever you open the inspector. Okay, so here is the list of what you call capabilities. I have used this one before, so you can just give any name depending on the application that you are using. Okay, so this is under automatic server. It means that your device is what you call residing on the same machine that you have the that that's where your Appium inspector is there. Okay, if it is some other server, let's say that if your Appium is on some other machine, your simulator, sorry, then you can give the remote host name, and if there is a port, you can give the port name and then enter all these details. But let's say that your simulator is not on your premise, but it is on cloud. So as you know, we have so many cloud services, service providers who is hosting what you call real devices, and you can install your application. For example, Sauce Labs, Test Object, Browser Stack are the main what you call cloud service provider. So if you have any application, let's say on the Sauce Labs, then you can just click on this and then fill the details so that you can inspect the app of the device that is hosted on Sauce Labs. The same applies all of these what you call service providers. Okay, so that is all about a kind of a quick overview of the app inspector. Okay, but as the device is residing on the same machine, I will go for automatic server. And if you see here, let me go to the phone app just to save time. I have all these details, so here you can see. So for the first time when you install the Appium desktop, you can enter these things manually. Okay, and you guys already know how to get the app package and app activity. Okay, we have already a dedicated video for that. You can go and look into that. Okay, so once you have entered all the details, your simulator is ready. Now what you can do, you can click on the start session, which will what you call launch your application. Let me just stop this one. So based on these capabilities, it will see that if so you here you can see the app is launched automatically, and then the preview of that app is here. Okay, on the Appium Inspector. Now you can play with this particular preview. Okay, and note one thing here, this is not a static. As you move different options, so like as you see, it is on favorite screen, right, on this favorite screen. But let's say that I am moving into the this is call history, right? Yeah, now I moved here on the mobile, on the simulator. So how can I get that one? So here is few options available again, so let's discuss them one by one. Here you can see there is a refresh source screenshot. It means that if you're changing the screen on the simulator, you can click on the refresh icon and then it is refreshing back. Okay, so whatever you are seeing here, you can see here as well. There is something called as a search for an element. Like here we have different locators available. So as in Selenium we have different locators, the same thing we have different element finding strategies for Appium as well. Okay, so as you can see, and again here, so for browsers there is no Android iOS, right? It is only one platform only. But here if you see, we have Android specific elements and iOS specific elements, because Android and iOS normally behaves normally uses different what you call framework or different technology to develop the application, right? So that is why we have segregated that. So if it is, so let's say how we have ID, name, class name, XPath. The same thing, few of the Selenium locators are common in Appium, because Appium basically derived from Selenium, but Appium has its own element locator strategies. Okay, like you can see content description, content desk, accessibility ID, that is on iOS. If any one of these two attributes you are getting, then you can use the accessibility ID. The class name, simple. And ID, so there could be resource ID or name. You can use that as an ID attribute for Appium. Name is name, and then XPath is, you all know XPath how it is. But let's see how these particular strategies we can inspect by using Appium Inspector. Okay, so I mean, if you have anything, you can execute those what you call locators in here. So if you find some ID, then if you search it, if that ID is available on this current screen, it will highlight that particular what you call element. We will see that later point of time. Okay, so at this moment let's see few of the elements and see how Appium Inspector is giving you. Okay, so let me see the no thanks button. Let's say that I want to automate the no thanks button. So here you can see, you will see a new thing popped up here. So where these are nothing but the what you call the inspected elements. Okay, so whenever you highlight on something, click on this, and then you will see different attributes. Like you have a id attribute, so here you can see the secondary action is the attribute id. So normally what happens here, if you see the com.google.android dialer of id, sometimes this is not mandatory to use that in your script. You can just use the after this slash forward slash, you can see this one. But sometimes it doesn't it if it is not working, then you can just use the complete string of this. Okay, even you have xpath, but as the rule says, if the id is available, don't use any other attribute, right? Okay, so the same thing you will get here. You have some package, you have class name. So let's say that if the class name, okay, so there are situations where you won't get the ID. So what you can do, you can use the class attribute combination with text to make it as xpath. So here you can see at the rate class equal to this one, sorry, class, and then slash. Here you can say at the rate text equal to no thanks. Okay, you can do that as well. And there is a resource id, even you can use that as an id attribute. And the other attributes are not that much of required, but yes, like if you want to know what and all attributes, sometimes you might need to see if that particular element is disabled or enabled or checked, not checked. You can see here if it is a checkbox kind of stuff on here where you can check it, uncheck it. You can see if there is a checked attribute is available or not, clickable if it is clickable or not, enabled or not. So these attributes you can use while automating. Okay, so it's not only element find strategies, but you can use the attribute available attributes for this particular what you call for this particular element. The same thing, if I click on here, I will get something. Let's see this one, this particular thing here. So yeah, so here you can see accessibility id means I can use that as an id as well. Okay, so like that you can use content description. I was just talking about, if anything content description is there, you can use that as a idea or content description also. Or you can use this one as an xpath as well. So like at the rate content hyphen desc equal to contacts tab. Okay, even you can see we have this resource id as well. So it is icon. Okay, but you need to make sure this icon should not be repeated. And I will tell you one more thing also. Let's see, so now when I clicked on this, I'm getting icon, but I don't know if it is unique across the screen or not. So what I can do, I can go to this search element, I can choose the id attribute because this is resource id, right? I can copy paste that one and then search it. You can see there are so many what do you call things are there. So it means that I cannot use, means this particular contact icon is not a unique id. So better I can use something here. So let's see if I can use this one or not. So I don't know if contact description, let's see if this is giving you or not. So here you need to see if I have, okay, I don't have a contact hyphen DSC as a, what you call, as an attribute here for IPM, but I can use XPath here. So how can I use that one? So here you can do this one, double slash, and then you can say star, and then at the rate, and this is content desc, right, equal to single quote, and here single quote, and end it. Okay, here you can see, so this is unique. Here you can see, I don't know whether you guys can see or not, but this is highlighted here. So the same way you can even execute this particular what you call locators and find it out if it is unique or not before implementing that particular locator as your what you call Appium script. Okay, so let's see a few more things. Let's see this text box. So here you can see there is no id what you call associated with this one. So what you can do, you have to find it out if there is anything what you call kind of think there should be something under this. Let's try this one. So here you can even navigate also. See how I am navigating here. So if you go here, if you click particular stuff, so it means that this particular section is under this. So this is nothing but, so how HTML is kind of an XML right there. So the same way this is also it is rendering with respect to the, this is nothing but your XML view only. Okay, so if I go under this, so you can see, yeah, so I think this you can use, yes, so here you can use as a search box. So sometimes, as you have seen, right, if I'm clicking this, I'm not getting a proper element, but if you navigate through this XML, you will get the individual elements, and then by using that you can click on these elements or enter the text whatever you want by using Appium script. Okay, and so see, the way we are identifying the element and adding the capabilities are common for Android and iOS. There is no much difference. The only difference lies that whenever you are using this particular IPM inspector, make sure that your capabilities are correct. If you are dealing with Android, your capability automation name should be UI Automator 2. If it is iOS, it should be XQtest. So that's how the IPM inspector will distinguish whether you want to inspect an Android application or an iOS application. Okay, only the difference is you might get few of the differences in the attributes. Like one basic attribute I will tell you, like let's say highlight this one. So here you can see the text is make a call, right? So here you will see this is text is an attribute for Android, but while I will be inspecting the iOS applications, you might not see text as an attribute, but you will see value as an attribute. Okay, so that is what you need to make sure. Okay, so whenever you say driver dot get text or the element dot get text, this is only applicable for Android. I mean, we will discuss in our upcoming, what you call, upcoming sessions, but I'm just giving you a heads up that you might not see this attribute in case of iOS. Okay, I think, yeah, pretty much these are the stuff for the what do you call, inspecting an element. Let's quickly try the iOS, what do you call, iOS app. Let's close this one, and I will close my Android simulator also. Okay, so let the server run. Okay, one more thing to note is that always you need to always your server should be up and running. Okay, to what do you call, to inspect the element. Okay, so let me quickly go and launch the iOS simulator with a particular app. Okay. Okay, so it is launching the iOS. So here one thing, so we have already discussed how we can launch a particular application by using a particular iOS application. Okay, by using Xcode. We have already dedicated videos for that. You can go and watch. Okay, so let me just run this one so that the simulator will be launched. So as you can see, the app got launched, and after that what we will do, we will go to the Appium Inspector and let's find it out, UI catalog. So this is the application basically we are going to inspect. Okay, so here as you can see, the platform name is iOS iPhone X, and you can see here iPhone X with the 12.0 as a version, and the automation name is XQtest, and this is the bundle ID. And for bundle ID, we have already discussed how we can get the bundle ID of a particular mobile application in iOS. Okay. So if you're not sure about this, you can watch my previous videos, so where it is clearly explained of how you can get the app package app activity for Android and bundle ID for iOS. Now what I am going to do, I will now do a start session. So now what this will do, this will launch the particular application on the simulator, and then it will give you a preview. It is the same thing how we have seen in our what do you call, in the Android case, right? It is the same thing. So now here you can see the app got launched, and so this app is launched from, what do you call, from the Appium Inspector itself. But before to that, make sure that wherever you are inspecting that particular simulator, you should install the application before inspecting that element. Else you can use the app key there, like the app capability, to install and then inspect that element. Okay, so as you can see, you get a replica or kind of a preview of the current application that is launched against your what do you call, your iOS simulator. Now it is the same rule applies like all the buttons that we have discussed in the Android case. So the same thing applies here, but the XML is quite changing because like as I was telling, for Android it is UI automated too, and here they are using the XQE framework to, what do you call, to develop the applications. That's why all the elements you will see with XQE element. So let's say that I want to identify this date picker, then you can see the date picker is the accessibility ID, and you have an XPath also here. Okay, so the same thing if you go down, and so here you can see it is value attribute. So for Android, as we discussed, it is a text attribute. Now here it is value attribute. So depending on ID, value, like you can even say that xpath double slash at the rate value equal to date picker. You can do that. Even name. So we have a name attribute, right? You can use that. So any one of these, depending on your what do you call, depending on your conveniency, you can use that. So here you can see like the xpath here, xqa element type static text at the rate name equal to date picker. You can use this one also as an attribute also. The same thing applies to here as well. You can see different. Now again here, let's say that I'm going to click on this, so you are getting different options here, and let me refresh the screen. And here you can see even you can just click, let me try if I can click this one. Okay, so here you can see if I want to, let's say that I want to click on this UI catalog, then I can click on this. So here you can see one XPath created, and then here you have name, UI catalog, label is there, you can identify. So what you can do, your test case could be launch the application and click on text fields and make sure that the text field is displayed, to make sure that when you click a particular button, it should navigate to the same screen only. So what you can do, you can just wait for this element. So here you can see one XPath is generated for this. So like that is the way you can do that. And let's say that you want to enter some text into the secure field. Now what you can do, you can just click on this and you will see UI catalog, and so it's a big one is there. Why not we can use something like this value. Okay, because there is no specific what you call attribute is assigned for this, so that's why the XPath is a bit longer, as you can see. Okay, so like these are the different ways, but in your real applications, what I can say, it's better to contact your developer and assign a particular ID or a specific name. Like in case of UI catalog and text fields, we have seen a name attribute, right? So the same thing you can add that as a name attribute here. So I mean, it's better to have always unique property rather than using a long XPath. It might increase your execution time. Okay, so yeah, I think pretty much what you call, that is it regarding the element locator strategies and how you can use the Appium Inspector to inspect for both Android and iOS applications. Okay, thank you for watching.